Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, young people, and our older generation as well. My name is Dr. Kyle-Forbes Biggs, and I have been invited to speak to you today. All protocols observed, and greetings to all of the members of the community that are here today. I've been asked to talk about this digital era and what does that mean, and what does that mean for young people. I have worked with young people across South and Southern Africa for probably longer than most of you have been alive. So what I just want to talk about is how we can move forward and what amazing opportunities we have, but also what we need to be aware of. So first of all, this idea of the digital era, what does that mean? And basically, it's a time in our lives when, if you could think back to the dinosaurs, they didn't have technology and they didn't have a lot of resources. So we and you, especially to our young girls in the communities, that you have access to information and you have this, you're born in a time period where things are a lot easier to access than any of the previous generations. It means that there is a huge demand for technology, and whether it is in our social lives, in our education, how we earn our livings, and all of these have both positive and negative things. It's also things that we use in terms of our entertainment and our communication. Okay, so some of the key things that when we think about the digital age and the digital era, things that we think of would be having internet connection. Can you imagine what it was like not being able to connect to the internet? Now, some of us may not have as much internet connection or free internet connection, or really good quality stuff, but the fact is that it's there, and that the internet has become this really amazing platform for us to communicate with other people, to help us learn, and to interact, right? So it's connecting people like me, who's currently sitting in Durban right now, to speak to you in Kuma. So things like that have allowed us to connect to other people and to share and interact and to get resources that you may never have had before. Then in terms of social media, all right, who's used it? Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. No questions asked. Again, this is one way that, or some ways that we have that we can communicate with people. We can share the latest dance moves, we can share recipes, we can look at trends, what are the new clothes to wear, what's the new style, who's singing what, right? So we have social media not just for communication and sharing all these things, but it's also something that we can use for activism. So you may think, yeah, but why activism? I'm just living my life. But it has been used in some parts of the world to help promote certain causes. In a small country near India, 1,000 miles away from here, there is a place called Bangladesh. And right now in Bangladesh, there's university students that are protesting. And they're protesting because of a system that has allowed certain people to get access to education, and it prevents other people from having access. It kind of reminds us of what happened during the apartheid system. Yeah, I know you guys are young, but ask your parents and grandparents. They would have lived through it. And you would have definitely heard the stories where there was the Bantu education system and certain people had access and privilege. Luckily, we've hopefully moved a long way away from that. But there are still countries in the world that are struggling with this. So in Bangladesh, right now, there is social media that is sharing the plight of thousands and thousands of students in this country and what they're going through. And we're able to see that live. They're just young people like you. We also have the access to digital devices, which, yeah, you guys know it. Smartphones, everybody wants a smartphone, an iPhone, tablets, laptops, and other devices. They're some of the tools that we use to help communicate with other people. They're amazing, but obviously the fancier and the faster they are, the more storage, the better they're going to be. But that costs money. The next thing we have is this thing called big data and artificial intelligence, which is really cool because you can go online and you can, for example, if you're doing research, you've got access to loads more information and how they analyze that information to make meaning. But with artificial intelligence, you have the opportunity to be able to do research, to be able to get information. Unfortunately, if you're in a university like I am, some students use artificial intelligence to write their assignments. Please don't do that. We always know. Then we have e-commerce. So if we think about it, years and years and years ago, if you wanted to buy something, you go to a shop. Well, now we've got to the point where we can go online and we can buy things from Temu and Shein and Takealot. We can buy things from some of those internet providers and have them delivered to our homes. We can buy things online. We can have all sorts of marketing and sharing information that way, as well as being able to get things. So we can buy things, we can pay internationally and have access to certain websites. So all of these are pretty amazing things that we now have access to in this generation. One of the coolest things we've got is digital education. Yeah, of course I left this to the last, but digital education is amazing because right now, if you have internet access, whether you've got a smartphone or whether you're able to use a library, you can go online and you can have access to online courses, e-books, so they're electronic books instead of having to hold those old ones in your hand, and go to digital classrooms. During the COVID pandemic, as a lecturer at a university, I was able to teach my students online using the internet. And that was one way that we helped to continue schools. You've also may have seen, it, depending on how old you are, where you would